Hello, good afternoon, all of you. We'll just wait for a few more minutes till some more participants join. Please bear with us for 1 or 2 minutes, please. Yeah, hello, namaste, good afternoon. It's a very hot afternoon. I think for most of you, the temperature must be 40 plus. I'm Sri Kumar Nyalur, a member at Prayas Energy Group Pune, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar. This is the launch event of Our Perspective, a new initiative of Prayas Energy Group. First of all, I thank all of you for joining us. There are nearly 80 plus participants, and we are expecting that it will very soon reach around 100. In fact, the response to our invite has been so overwhelming that we had to limit registrations to this event. We are very sorry about it, but we'll be recording this event and sharing the link of the recording to all those who are interested in viewing it. It is good to see that the participants are from a wide range of backgrounds. So we are hoping that the discussions at the end of the presentation will be diverse and enriching. Before I invite my colleagues to make the presentation, let me briefly introduce today's topic and the plan for the next 45 minutes or so. Today we are launching a new initiative of Prayas Energy Group called Power Perspectives Portal, which provides regular updates on the Indian electricity sector. My colleague Monavika Mandal will introduce the portal, and another colleague Maria Chirail will provide a brief guided tour of the portal. This part of the event will take around 20 minutes. After this presentations are over, we'll have a question and answer session, which will be moderated by Anne Josie. Your microphone will be muted throughout the duration of this webinar. And for a smooth conduct of the webinar, we request you to ask your questions by typing them in the window that is there on the right side of the screen and addressing them to us, the organizers. We will take up these questions at the end of the presentation. We request you to ask questions which are a little bit broad in nature and preferably on the utility and features of the portal so that they would be of interest to all and we can satisfactorily answer them. If you have any specific questions, we request you to take it up bilaterally after the event so that we can address them. Whatever question that come into us through the question answer the window, we will be collating them. We will collate the questions of similar nature and we would take them up for answers. We will be reading out those questions and then answering them so that everybody knows the questions. We have around 20 minutes for this question answer session. With this brief introduction, now let me hand over to Manabika and Maria with a request to start the presentation. Over to you, Manabika. Thank you.
Thank you, Srikumar. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Manovika speaking. In the next few minutes, I'll briefly talk about the background, motivation, and objectives of our work as part of Power Perspectives. So what is Power Perspectives? It is an initiative which provides brief commentaries and analysis of important developments in the Indian power sector at the state and at the central level. To begin with, we have focused on 4 states, that is Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. We have been working on Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh and intend on sharing our work in the coming months. We have chosen this first set of states on the basis of factors such as their financial status, progress of rural electrification, their consumer mix, and so on, subject to data availability. For each of these states, we will be providing short updates on select issues. Along with this, we will also be writing updates on broader multi-state trends as well as national level developments. To cite an example, we wrote an update highlighting Uttar Pradesh Regulatory Commission's order to the DISCOMs, which directs them not to sign long-term PPAs in the next 2 years till further review is conducted. An example of a multi-state update is an article we wrote highlighting the fact that many state regulatory commissions have been changing the required quorum for passing orders. In addition to the updates, to provide context, we have put together detailed overviews which summarize key issues in these states' distribution sectors. This includes an outline of key institutions, status of DISCOM finances, power purchase expenses, tariff structures, and quality of supply and service. Additionally, we are hosting infographics on the portal, focusing on some key data. My colleague Maria will run us through these infographics in more detail right after this presentation. What issues are we focusing on? We are focusing on issues that are not adequately reported or tracked in the electricity sector, especially from a public interest perspective. Some crucial themes are financial viability of DISCOMs, power procurement and capacity addition planning. To cite a couple of examples here, we have written an update on the recent high cost capacity addition of Chhabra Thermal Power Station in Rajasthan and analysis of Tamil Nadu's massive thermal and renewable energy capacity addition plans. Then we have themes such as changes in tariff design, which focuses not just only on tariff increase or issuance of tariff orders, which we mostly find being extensively covered in newspapers. Then we have open access and captive consumption, renewable energy, access to quality supply and service, especially for small and agricultural consumers, and regulatory governance. To cite a couple of examples here as well, we have written updates on regulatory accountability of the smart meter rollout plan in Uttar Pradesh and a commentary on limited regulatory oversight in Telangana. Now I'll talk a little about why we decided to work on such an initiative as Power Perspectives, and especially why now. At Prayas, we had a very similar initiative in the early 2000s called the India Power Sector Reforms Update, where we covered key reform-related developments at the national level and in 4 states, namely Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, and Uttar Pradesh. We have been tracking specific issues at the state level as well in the last few years. Some of these issues include tracking surplus generating capacity, implementation of KUSUM, agricultural sales estimation, and so on. Along with this, we have been participating in regulatory processes as well. And through our involvement, we have seen that given the varying circumstances in these states and the transitions in the electricity sector, much of these changes will come through innovative policies at the state level. Given this, we felt that it is important to track and analyze crucial changes in the state sectors. Many would have visited various portals in the sector which mostly provide specific data and updates, such as the Uday portal, Prapti, and then non-profit portals such as Prayas's Renewable Energy Data Portal, IIT Kanpur's Center for Electricity Regulations Portal. And then there are periodic reports by MOP, Power Finance Corporation, Forum of Regulators, CEA, and so on. There are also portals which provide commentaries with specific focus, such as on industries or renewables. News portals carry a plethora of information on a daily basis, but seldom with detailed analysis. And we can all agree that it is quite challenging to track government notifications or keep up with multiple regulatory processes to understand a particular issue. While this portal is not a tracker, it highlights crucial developments that are of public interest and hosts them on as updates on our website. We hope that this will complement all the efforts I just mentioned. We also hope that Power Perspectives will contribute to informed discussions on interesting trends among various stakeholders and regulatory and policy changes in the sector. Along with this, we hope to contribute to state and national level decision-making processes as well. I shall now request Maria to give us a brief walkthrough of the portal.
Thank you, Malavika. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Maria here. I will be taking you through the Power Perspective portal and explaining the format and functionality of it along the way. The Power Perspectives portal is currently hosted on the website of the Prayas Energy Group and can be found in the resources section on the main menu. What is seen on the screen right now is the landing page of the portal. Right at the top of the portal, the About Power Perspective panel covers some details which Malavika has just addressed at length. Under this, there is a drop-down button which discusses the method of navigating the portal and which I will discuss now in much more detail. As covered in the presentation, the content on the website has been tagged to states and issues. To reiterate, we cover issues such as discom finances, power procurement, renewable energy, amongst others. And in addition to the state and issue tags, the articles on the website are also organized into state tabs. As you can see, we currently have tabs for the states of Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. In addition to this, we also have tabs for central and others, and the search tab. The structure within each state tab is similar. For instance, let us look at the state tab of Tamil Nadu. Now, the first item in every state tab is the state overview, followed by the infographics and then the updates. Currently, each state tab hosts 2 to 3 updates. I will now take you through the state overview. What is seen on the web page here is a short summary of the state overview. The state overview itself is a 15 to 20 page document, which can be downloaded through 2 links on this page, one at the top of the page and one right here. The overview is intended to contextualize the state story and highlight major developments in the state in the recent past, which affects the functioning of its power sector currently. This commentary on the state's power sector over years mostly focuses on the distribution companies of the state and includes details regarding financial challenges, power purchase and capacity addition, sales and revenue, and the regulatory functioning in the power sector. While most of these topics are covered in each state's overview, the depth of coverage has been chosen to best fit each state. Now, after the overview, each state has infographics. So the infographics provide quick snapshot of the important trends in the state's power sector. They consist of 3 dashboards that cover the topics of power purchase, sales and revenue, and the financial status. The data for these infographics have been sourced from regulatory documents. We have used audited and chewed up data wherever possible, and where such data was not available, we've used approved numbers. The selection of the years represented also depends on the data availability and disaggregation, and therefore they differ from state to state. These details and further clarifications can be are noted in the notes section. Apologies, this seems to be a lot. Yeah, in the notes section, and can be accessed by hovering over the notes button. The first dashboard, which deals with power purchase, captures the power purchase mix of the state and the power purchase cost. The power purchase mix is the inner circle in this first figure depicts the power purchase mix by percentage shared by ownership, as is further clarified by the legend. And the outer circle depicts the percentage share of power, by ownership as well as fuel. So for instance, in FY12, Central Coal accounted for 25% of Tamil Nadu's power purchase mix, whereas in FY16, Central Coal accounted for 29% of the power purchase. The power purchase and the second figure captures the per unit power purchase cost by ownership and by fuel for the selected years. The second dashboard deals with the sales and revenue. The first figure here represents the category-wise sales mix for the years considered. And the second figure captures the cost of supply as well as the category-wise average tariff per consumer category, which is also known as the average billing rate. So the value for the average billing rate is inclusive of government subsidy in some states and does not include government subsidy for others. For instance, in Tamil Nadu, it is inclusive of government subsidy, which explains why agricultural tariffs are zero, since agricultural consumption in the state is fully subsidized. This brings us to the third dashboard, which covers the financial status of the DISCOM. The first figure here represents the expenses incurred and the revenue earned by the DISCOM in the financial year selected. The columns for expenses and revenue are also further categorized into their components. So for instance, power purchase cost accounts for a significant portion of the DISCOM's expenses, whereas the revenue from sales accounts for a significant portion of the revenue. The annual revenue gap accounts for the difference between the expenses and revenue of the DISCOM in that financial year. In addition to this, we also included a third parameter to gauge the financial health of the DISCOM. In case of Tamil Nadu, this is the outstanding short-term borrowings. For other states, we've tracked parameters such as the cumulative revenue gaps. An interesting feature of our infographics is this figure, which tracks the status of tariff revision and true-ups. This is especially significant in light of APTEL's order in OP1 of 2011 towards regulatory accountability in timely follow-up of tariff and true-up processes. We've tracked the years for which the tariff order and multi-year tariff order were issued. We've also recorded years which have had no tariff increase or which have had a tariff increase of more than 10% when compared to the tariffs of the previous years. Years for which a tariff order has been published, but after a delay of more than 6 months from the beginning of that financial year has also been captured. The figure further records years for which tariff orders have been issued and years in which such a true-up process has been delayed by more than 2 years. So we intend to update this infographic as and when we have trued up, audited, or approved data at a disaggregated level available for each of these states. I will now revert back to the state tab. Now, after the state overview and the infographics, we have the updates that are listed in reverse chronological order in each state. So we have the updates listed from the latest to the earliest. And unlike the overview and the infographics, which are tagged with most of the issues covered in our portal, the updates cover more targeted topics. For instance, this update on TN's procedure for captive generation determination deals with the procedural guidelines issued by the state's regulatory commission towards streamlining the process of captive status determination and verification, and it's tagged to the issue of captive and open access. The update itself can be viewed in its entirety on the web page, and an offline version can be downloaded from this link that is listed at the top. Now, the flow and structure that I've described for Tamil Nadu is reflected in the tabs for other states as well. And in addition to these state level updates, we've also covered updates on a multi-state level and central level, which are captured in the central and others tab. Currently, we host one multi-state update and one central update. Right. So other than the state tabs, we can also navigate the portal through the search tab. So all the content on the website is listed in the default mode of the search tab, again in reverse chronological order from the latest article to the earliest. And the search tab also has a filter with state and issue levers, which can be used by the reader to narrow the results as per their interests and requirements. So this brings us to the end of the portal in its current format. Now, going forward in the coming months, we will introduce the states of Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra to our portal. We will also have new updates on current and relevant issues to which we'll be adding to the tabs once a month or so. And later in the future, we also intend to expand the scope of our portal to include more states. And on this note, I invite Sri Kumar to take over.
Thank you, Maria and Manavika, for the presentation and running us through the portal. Now we will take up the questions. But before we take up the question answer, a couple of announcements. First of all, the slide that is now being displayed has a link to the complete portal. Now it's already operational. And then on the right hand side, there is a handout. You would have seen the handout row. So there is a small handout. It's a 2-page handout which consists of links to names of all the articles that are right now uploaded on our portal and the links to download them. So please have a download it and have a look at them and visit the portal, but preferably after the question answer session and after the webinar. So now we will take up questions, and I hope you will continue sending these questions to the on the question answers window to the organizers, so that we can collate them and take them up one by one. I request Anne Josie to moderate this session. Anne, over to you.
Thank you, Sri Kumar. We indeed have received a diverse set of questions from the participants, and the next session is going to be quite challenging. Maybe you can take one of the first questions that's been asked. The question is, with increased centralization and the proposal to further increase the extent of the central government role, what is the need to focus on states? Sri Kumar, can you answer that, please?
Yeah, I think that's a correct question at this point of time, because people who have been tracking the sector and attending webinars would have attended many on Electricity Act amendment, on the current reform packages that is being announced by the finance minister, or the way the whole grid survived the lights off event, etc. So it's very true that there is a move to centralize the sector in many ways, not only in terms of grid operation or in terms of having a common approach to promoting renewable or promoting efficient use, but also in terms of even policy and regulation. In fact, the Act amendment do have quite a lot of suggestions in this regard, and those who are interested will of course visit our website, where we have given comments on the Act amendment. But be that whatever it is, we feel that there is a role, there is a need to actually understand what is happening in the sector at a detailed level. And for that purpose, as Manavika right in the beginning said, our focus is on the distribution sector, and distribution sector operation, policies, planning, everything is largely in the hands of the state. And there are, even though there may be centralized guidelines, there are minor variations and serious policy deviations or differences at different states. You can well imagine the kind of electrification levels, the kind of consumer mix, the kind of generation mix. These are all different in different states. Or even policies like whether agricultural power should be free, or they should be for how many hours, or what should be the tariff for that, what should be the targets towards reducing cross subsidy on many of these matters, or what should be the methods to promote market or not promote market, what should be the methods to promote small renewables. On all these matters, there are differences across states. So we feel that it is important to monitor what is happening at the state, so that good experiences can be learned by other states, good experiences can inform central policy making, and anything that has not worked well in a state, same mistake need not be done by other states. I think that's why I feel it's important. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Sri Kumar. The next question is probably something Manavika can take. How do you choose which articles to write issues on? And if there is an update on a particular regulatory order or a policy, will there be follow-ups on what happens afterwards?
Thanks, Anne. Yeah, that's an interesting question. So what we try to do is take up topics that are not extensively covered in the discourse of the sector. Then we have discussions with different CSOs working in those states to find out what's really relevant, and then issues that might have relevance in other states and at the national level. We try to pick like that, and with the lens of public interest, of course, like I mentioned during our presentation. To cite an example, say a state comes up with new tariff regulations or standard of performance regulations, and they bring up a different amendment, which is very different from what has been. And that is worth bringing forward and bringing into the spotlight and talking about, so that lessons can be learned from it and other states can also pick it up. Coming to the question of follow-ups on our updates, I think that's a great idea, and it is definitely worth doing. And say I mentioned this UPRC order about not signing long-term PPAs in the next 2 years before extensive review is done. And since then, we have been like trying to track if UPRC is giving more approvals for new PPAs, and that's interesting. Like if something comes up, we definitely like to write another update on it. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Manavika. The next question is for Maria. It's a clarificatory question. In other years be seen other than the state that you showed, which is FY12 and FY15 for Tamil Nadu? So is there a time series and we've only selected 2 years in the infographics, or are there more years? Additionally, to obtain this data, was any memorandum of understanding signed with states?
All right. Thanks for the question, Anne. So currently we've selected up to two years for each state. And it is not a time series thing. We've chosen 2 years, but so you get a comparative picture of the parameters in the states. This was mostly done because of constraints of data availability and the level of disaggregation of data in the various states. So going ahead, we do plan to update, as I had mentioned earlier, update this data for more recent years. And with regard to the MOU, no, we do not have an MOU with states for data. Thanks.
The next question is for Manavika. The question is, will the focus only be on regulatory changes given TEG's experience, or will it also extend to other areas?
Right. Yeah, I think we can agree that many important state level events happen in the regulatory sphere. And given our past experience as well, we are definitely focusing on regulatory happenings in the regulatory sector. But that doesn't mean that we are not looking into other policy implications. And at Prayas also, we have been working in various other sectors as well, looking at coal, then looking at residential energy consumption, and so on. So yeah, definitely we'll be coming up with various types of articles as we go forward. Thanks, Anne.
The next question is for Srikumar. In addition to portals and updates, is TEG planning any more initiatives for advocacy at the state level?
Oh, actually, we already do quite a lot of work, not perhaps at the individual state level. In Maharashtra, we have been working for quite some time, and some other states we have some presence, like for example, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and historically in some other states like Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. We have worked, with civil society groups with an idea to take up the kind of ideas so that they ultimately give some impacts. Now, if the question is that do we want to do? Yes, we want to do a lot of work at different states but considering the kind of resource limitation that we have, we can't do in all that we want to do. And we also have to, I think we should be humble. Prayas should be, we are humble to admit that we cannot be the people who can understand all the ground realities in every state. So what we really plan to do is to really identify people at in different states, except let's say Maharashtra or Telangana, Andhra, where we have some local presence. In other states, we'll identify people with whom we can work with. Along with them, we'll try to do many events. And in addition, since there is a lot of common across states, we have been conducting workshops or events calling together people from different states. Of course, because of COVID and many other reasons, we have not been able to organize this in the last 1 year or so. But this organizing regular workshop of state level actors also has been a regular activity of Prayas. So we hope to continue this thing, and we hope that this initiative will actually contribute to those efforts. This kind of overviews that we have on states and updates that we have on states, we really hope it will help state level actors to take these up issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Srikumar. The next question is for Maria. Are you going to write updates and provide data that can be compared across states? Right now, it seems quite state focused without any intrastate trends. Similarly, in the infographics, will there be a comparison of approved and actual numbers, or will it only be the approved number, actual numbers?
Right, thanks for the question, Anne. So currently we've kept the states separate and the infographics represented the way it is because we do not intend it to be compared across states, especially because the level of data disaggregation or the years for which consistent data is available differs from state to state, and trends also differ quite significantly from state to state. But we do some level of comparison across state in our multi-state level articles, for instance. Currently, the article we have compares the change in quorum across states, so that is an interstate comparison. The question about whether we intend to do a comparison between approved and actual numbers, currently we only have actual numbers or approved numbers, but going ahead, this can be a point that we can take into consideration. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Maria. The next question is for Manubika. What will be the frequency of future updates, and how long are you planning to carry on this initiative?
Thanks, Em. Yeah, so we intend on having updates up every month or so. That's our plan. And we plan on doing this exercise for the next 2 to 3 years, definitely. And we'll take a call from there and see how the sector progresses and what kind of work will be relevant then. Thank you.
The next question is for Maria. Are the background state documents and articles going to be available in other languages?
That's a really good suggestion. Currently, we have it only in English, and we don't know if that would fall under our scope, but we're welcome to the idea of having it available in other languages as well. It's always a good thing.
Manubika, maybe you can take the next question. Since it's the hotel distribution sector focused, are there any plans to add other sectors such as transmission as well? Also in the same range as future activities, will quality of supply indicators be included in infographics, or is it only going to be limited to cost and finances? And which are the states that you're going to target beyond Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh?
Right, thanks for that question. Yeah, presently we are looking at the distribution sector and its connection to its power purchase and the majority of the cost that lies in power purchase. But it's a good suggestion to look at the transmission sector and how the grid becomes important when open access and captive takes on. And then about quality of supply and service, we'd love to report such information, but the problem is we hardly get information in the public portal. Like say as per section 57, 58 and 59 of the Electricity Act, DISCOMs are supposed to periodically report hours of outage, frequency of such outages and so on, how much voltage fluctuation has been there, and generally the quality of information is pretty poor and we hardly see it being uploaded on a regular basis. So given that we get such information, it would definitely be a definite effort to put it up on the website. Coming to the question of adding more states, yes, we are excited about adding more states definitely, but we need some help and association as well in those states, because we are working out of Maharashtra and we have certain connections in different states like we discussed, but in certain other states it might be a little difficult and it might take a little while for us to understand the sector. So if somebody wants to collaborate with us and help us with that, that would be great. Yeah, and I think Maria touched upon translation as well. So if we have collaborators on translation as well, that will be really interesting. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Manovika. You already answered a question on collaboration that was there from the audience. Maria, maybe you can take the next question. Do you write all, it's also related to collaboration. Do you write all the articles? Does Prayas write all the articles, or are articles also curated or requested from others?
Right. Currently, all the articles hosted on our portal are written by in-house authors. While we haven't curated anything as of now, but in the future we are open to the idea of collaborations from other organizations and authors from the outside as well.
The next question is for Manovika. Is there any systematic tracking of pilots in the update series? It seems like there are so many pilots, but no repository to understand the learnings from pilots.
Right, that's quite an interesting question, and definitely it's something that we should all be looking at. But I'd say, given the importance of the issue and if information is publicly available, we'd love to trace pilots, but at present we do not have access and we are not doing it presently. But in the future, definitely yes.
The next question, maybe Maria can take it. Are there any plans to bring in international experience and document those practices in the portal?
We haven't really considered it, but it seems like a good idea and we're open to looking into it.
So I think we have just enough time for one last question. And maybe Maria, you can take this question. It says the consolidated data used in the infographics is already available in PFC reports, CEA reports, National Power Portal. So how is the data in the Power Perspective portal any different?
Right. Thanks, Anne. So for instance, CEA does have a portal, but it does not cover financial aspects. And while PFC does cover financial parameters, the same parameters has different values and there are some discrepancies. The NPP portal, for instance, covers data on a quarterly basis based on numbers reported by DISCOMs. What we do is we look at regulatory documents and we use data that is audited or trued up. So that's an extra level of wettedness to our data. And we also are updating it at a slightly higher frequency and covering a wider, comparatively more comprehensive range of topics. So that I would say is the most prominent difference between what we are doing and what others are doing. Thanks, Anne.
I think we have run out of time for questions. So thanks for all the questions that have been asked. We will anyway be sharing a recording of the webinar and our email address is also there. So after you look at the website or the portal, and if there are any further questions, do write to us. With this, I will hand it over to Srikumar.
Thank you, Anne. We would like to keep time. It's already around 3:40, even though we started 2 minutes late. This webinar was largely just to launch the portal and introduce the features and utilities of the portal. If we start discussing on different aspects that are covered in the articles of the portal, then it becomes a longer discussion. But as a launching event, we are coming to the end of this event. We hope you got a feeling of the kind of information that is available, and we hope that you will visit the portal often to make use of the articles that we'll put there. And as Manabika said in her presentation, there are other portals and there are other data available out there. So our only hope is that this will complement such efforts, and the material present here will be of use to all the sector actors to participate in informed discussions. As Anne said, we'll be having a recording of this event, and all of you who have participated, and many of you who could not register for the event, we'll be sending them a link to the recording of this event. Before I close the event, I would also want to use this opportunity to thank many people who made it possible, who made this portal possible. This includes our web developer, Tekdi Technologies, then the external reviewers who reviewed all the articles that we wrote, be it the overview or the updates. There are quite a lot of our friends who reviewed these articles, and then all my colleagues in Prayas Energy Group who supported in different way. But I would like to add a special thanks to Shilpa Kelkar, who along with who worked with Tekdi, who is our portal web developer, to make this portal ready for this event. So thanks to all of them. And thank you, all of you, for participating in this event on a hot afternoon. And we hope that you will come back to us and join in our future webinars. Have a good day. Have a safe day. Bye.